was given an early copy of Cat Quest 3 to play and review, and I figured if we're gonna do this right, we should probably look at all of them. So welcome to my ultimate Cat Quest trilogy review. And you can just skip to here if you just want to hear about the new one. Okay, let's go. To better understand the brilliance of Cat Quest 3, we should start with Cat Quest 1. And from the very beginning, this was a masterpiece. If you're unfamiliar with the Cat Quest franchise, it's a typical starter RPG. You play as a cat that goes on quests. Wait. That's why it's called Cat Quest. Oh my god, holy sh**. I just got that. And it's just like any other general RPG where you collect weapons and armor and you learn magic spells that eventually become overpowered and you level up. But this time with 100 cat puns. Now I have this friend named Meowdalin whose name is literally a cat pun, and over the 3 years that I've known her, I haven't heard as many cat puns from her as I have from this game. Also, the cat takes a nap to save the game and heal. Aww. Regarding the gameplay, it's also just very hard for what it is, for some reason. This thing's actually pretty weak. Never mind. You would think that a game called Cat Quest would have a bit easier of a learning curve, but actually the game throws an entire dragon at you in the first 5 minutes and expects you to beat it. He healed himself! What? How's that fair? That is super cool, but it's the game's way of conditioning you for what's to come. It's basically Cat Dark Souls. And I'm not just saying that because like, oh, it's really hard, but the combat was actually designed with dodge rolling in mind to time your attacks and find an opening so you can take down enemies that are much larger than yourself. You're expected to take several attempts to learn from your past mistakes and earn that victory. See, much better. Look at that. Let's go. How to slay your dragon. Let's go. And then instantly get slaughtered in the next fight. Dude, but it's actually not that complicated of a game. The story is quite simple. You're a cat who has lost his sister and set out on a journey with your little ghost cat friend to try to find her. Just don't mind the zero dimension or the third eye thing that pops up every once in a while. That's completely normal. The map is a relatively good size too, and it makes a good point of making sure you know where you need to go, even during the times where you don't need it to. Yeah? You saw a dragon? You need to mark it on my map? I don't know if I'll be able to find it unless you mark it on my map. And your progression through the game boils down to talking to someone to start a quest, and then those quests involve defeating enemies, or clearing out a cave of enemies, or running in circles. That is until you realize that you're not a high enough level to defeat some enemies. It's the game's way of subtly telling you that you should do some side quests to get stronger before you proceed. And if you ignore that subtle hint, it just comes out and tells you, go do side quests. Go. But of course, I had to learn that lesson the hard way. Ooh, I died again. I'm only a little stubborn. The side quests are well worth doing though. Each little town has a bulletin board of side quests that are their own individual fun little stories. Like this one about a cat named Cora Loft who is raiding tombs and looking for treasure, and as you'd expect, the treasure really was the friends we made along the way. Wait, no, actually it's knowledge and experience. To be honest, I think I would have rather had the friends. There's another side quest about all these cats that just keep demanding the meat. Like they're from Arby's or something. And when you feed them the meat, they end up turning into the monsters, just like with Arby's. I did want to interject here because I know there are so many impressionable viewers on YouTube that Arby's will not in fact turn you into a monster. I even got some Arby's here to show you. See? I'm just fine. It does taste terrible though. But the most important side quests really shouldn't be called side quests, because they give you important skills for you to beat the game, such as the ability to fly and the ability to walk on water like Cat Jesus. You are Cat Jesus! And I do want to make a point that the first time I played this game, I did not unlock the ability to walk on water until I finished this side quest just like the game intended. However, this time when I played the game, it just gave me the walking on water ability like right away. I don't know why, couldn't tell you. If we find Puss, can you teach us how to walk on water? I would love if somebody could teach me how to walk on water. But it doesn't matter though, because I did this side quest anyway, because I wanted to. Also, this guy is basically nautical Meowscles, right? And he's beautiful. But once you beat all the quests and finish the story that I will not spoil for you because it's just that good and you need to experience it for yourself, there is still a lot more that you can do. Beat every dungeon, unlock every weapon, and even find the secret developer island that they hid at the bottom of the map. Cat Quest started out as a sexy dancing game, you know? Did it? I mean, did it? But I gotta say, it is pretty fun to overlevel yourself and just slice through every enemy like they're Swiss cheese. And if you want to do it all again, you can do a New Game Plus with all of your old magic spells and equipment. But if you want a little bit more of a challenge, you can start a new game with some modifiers. These modifiers include like a level 1 mode, a naked mode where you get no armor or weapons, a 9 lives mode where after 9 lives you just lose the whole game, an option for stronger enemies, or all of them at the same time. I do not recommend trying that. Or do, but Cat Quest is good wholesome fun with just a bit of difficulty and a very rewarding experience. It even sets itself up very nicely for the sequel. But Cat Quest 2, on the other hand, is somehow even better. Like, how is that possible? Let's find out. So first of all, there's like way more cat puns now. I know that seems impossible, but I'm not kidding. I know I'm insufferable. But with it being a sequel, they really did add so much more. Most notably, out of anything, they added the dog. Did you hear that, buddy? They added you to the game. You weren't real until they did that. Okay, good boy. Run along now. There you go. There's a dog character, dog NPCs, a whole dog side of the map with cactuses for some reason. Don't touch that. Ow, and even dog puns too. But with the addition of the dog, it really was enough to elevate the game. Now with 2 playable characters. For instance, you can have one of them be your magic wielder with one of the new magic wand weapons that allows you to attack from a range, while the other one carries a big sword and deals massive damage up close. You can give them different armor, different spells and abilities, and tag team them mid-fight. It actually feels really fluid to swap characters during battle to pull off some wicked combos. And the whole reason the dog was added wasn't just because dogs are cute and we love them, but the 2-character format was designed for a co-op experience. 2 players equals 2 naps. But this game is insanely fun to play in co-op, or it can be incredibly frustrating depending on who you play with.
Revive me, Jet, revive me. Jet, come on!
But it's mostly fun, I promise. And what really sets this one apart is how much more elaborate they made the story. This time it's about a raging war going on between the dog and the cat kingdoms, and so a dog and a cat warriors were pulled in from another time to help put an end to it. You do little side quests to level up and help the people of each nation, yada yada yada, and by the end you fight God. Because for some reason that's just how every single one of these games ends up. But I'm not going to spoil this one for you either because once again, the story is that good and you need to experience it for yourself. And if you're just hopping into it, you get 2 different choices of difficulty. One being the normal mode, which gives you a bit of a challenge, and this is the introduction of their story mode, which is really just easy mode. But that's such a good choice to add considering how difficult the first one could be. So thankfully, because of that, the combat isn't too technical now. Even on normal mode, it's not too bad. There's new battle abilities like a damage roll where you hurt enemies by rolling through them, and a wind-up attack that you do out of a roll. Combining these with the new magic powers, weapons, and character swapping makes the combat miles ahead of the first one. But what I think makes this game a real improvement to me is how much more detail was added into this world. There's a Harry Potter reference with the Mjolnir wand and the invisibility cloak. There's an Uncharted reference with Barkthan Drake looking for treasure, and they even got mother Cat Thulu. It's so cute! But even when it's not references, the game does well enough on its own with its funny dialogue. Wait! Or even just the way it gives you freedom to interact with it. Please don't rough me up. Rough him up anyway. Ugh. No, wait, no! I feel bad now. Or like I said, all of the cat and dog puns. The name of the town is Pound Town. Do you know what the insinuation of Pound Town is? Do you understand this is a rated E game? And once you finish the game, you have the ability to once again play with modifiers. Or you can start a New Game Plus with all of your overpowered abilities. But it's so worth to keep playing after you finish because of all the fun and quirky gear there is to collect. There's this one side mission where you have to talk to what I'm guessing can only be Miss Mouse from the Thousand Year Door, and after a few rounds of rock, paper, scissors, you earn their head as wearable armor. That's so cool, I think. Or it might be terrifying. You decide. But I think one downside to the sequel is that they nerfed the Sailor Cat from the first one. Now he kinda just looks like Carl Weezer's dad. You know what? I think it's the mustache. It's probably the mustache. Oh, wait, never mind. There he is. False alarm, everybody. The game is good. But with Cat Quest 2 being such a step up from the first, could you believe that Cat Quest 3 is still even better? Because it is. And here's why. Cat Quest 3 is like Cat Quest 2, but with pirates. And also nautical puns. And where the first game introduced us to the world of cats, and the second game introduced us to the world of dogs, the third game gives us rats with the pirates. Do you get it? I hope so. I'd be concerned if you didn't. We've got like the Pirate King, we've got the Necro Mouser, and we've got Mr. Clean. Yeah, I don't know if there's a pun with that one, but honestly, I don't care. I love him so much. And the third game has already made major improvements from the start. You can choose the gender of your cat this time, assuming that your definition of gender is whether or not you have eyelashes and the type of haircut you have. But this game starts with animated cutscenes, which look incredible. This one depicting that your main character is actually the baby from the Prince of Egypt. So now we've got Cat Moses and Cat Jesus. This lore is going crazy right now. But genuinely, the story is actually pretty straightforward this time. You and your ghostly comrade are working together to get a jewel called the Northern Star before the Pirate King can get his hands on it. You do that by following the clues scattered throughout the Caribbean and fighting any bad guys who are standing in your way. You're able to protect yourself with your normal assortment of weapons and magic, but introducing new weapons too, like the Wolverine claws and a freaking gun. Not since Ratchet and Clank have we seen a cat with a gun done so tastefully. But they've really outdone themselves with the combat this time. It's a good balance between strategy and challenge with multiple types of attacks that chain together so well. You go from your sword to your gun to your magic to your sword. That is, unless you do what I did and just use arcane magic and health stealing armor. Because then it makes everything in the game like easy. This boss that wants you to use a shield, arcane magic. This boss that's 13 levels ahead of me, arcane magic. A whole ass ghost ship? Easiest fight of my life. And all of these bosses now have their health bar proudly displayed on screen so you feel really immersed with each fight. And holy smokes, some of these boss fights are awesome. There's this 8-bit castle where you fight Giraticula in a Castlevania type setting. There's this rock and roll boss named Meowtalica that attacks with his guitar. And they gave Cthulhu a whole glow up. I mean, look at him. And of course, it wouldn't be a Cat Quest game if you weren't fighting God. And that's not a joke. Like, the dude comes out and says, I am a god. I'm not just making this stuff up, guys. Another pinnacle part of the game is getting your own little pirate ship that you can unlock power-ups for. You sail around fighting other ships, and this naval combat is honest to God better than Skull and Bones. Wait, what's that? It actually is? I thought it was just a joke for the video. Really? That's so funny, actually. And this is also the first Cat Quest game that might have multiple endings. The first time I beat the game, Alias pops up and says that things might have been different if I had beaten the Pirate King before approaching the final boss. Since I didn't, I had to fight the Pirate King and the final boss back to back before finishing the game. Luckily, after you beat the game, it sets you back to the checkpoint you had before you started the final boss, so I was able to go back to the Pirate King lair, beat him up, and then return to the final boss fight to see what's different. You still have to fight the Pirate King, but the real difference is that this time he just has no energy to fight anymore and hobbles around like he just had a vasectomy. I mean, look at that pathetic swing. And the last thing I want to go over with the story is a bit of a spoiler, so go ahead and skip ahead if you don't want to hear it. But at the very end of the game, it's revealed that the apocalypse is coming. Aside from it being the apocalypse, it's really not that big of a deal because the other games would end a similar way with a build up towards the next release. But in this game, it just says apocalypse and then back to the main menu. What does it mean? Is there going to be a fourth one? Is there going to be a DLC? Am I going to myself? And of course, a lot of the fun comes from after the story when you get to freely explore the amazing vast open world that's covered in secrets. Like this rubber ducky boat. Actually, don't fight the rubber ducky boat. Run, go, get away from the rubber ducky boat. Do not fight the rubber ducky boat. There's also a bunch of pirate lords you can track down and claim bounties on, and there's a ton of fun side quests with colorful characters. Like this one with some love books that you have to find hidden in some caves that you return to this ghost who then lets you go into the books and decide how the book is written. Or another one where you recover this book that can raise the dead, and if you equip it on yourself, it puts your health down to 1 HP, so don't actually do that. It's a bad idea. But when you return this book to the mage, she gives you a reward in return. And it really is worth completing all of these little side quests. Not just for the little rewards that they give you, but at the end, the Gentle Boar congratulates you for finding all of the lost items and thanks you for playing the game. It's a fun little Easter egg. And when it comes to new features, there's definitely a couple that stick out to me that I really liked. The first one is the Infinity Tower that lets you fight waves of enemies in a timed mode to see how far you can get before the time runs out. The second one is the secret room in the Mage Hut that allows you to change the look of your cosmetics without altering the effects and status of what you have equipped. So basically, you're not being that one Pro ZD skit.
What the hell are you wearing? It's my ass-kicking outfit, bitch!
As far as things that I didn't like, well, the game soft locked once. It was kind of funny and easily fixed, so not that bad. And then there's this mermaid that gives you this phone so that you can call her whenever you find booty, like a booty call. First we had Pound Town, and now we have Booty Call. Don't be coy with me, game. I see exactly what you're doing here. And actually, that's not a complaint. It's pretty funny as hell. But since I got an early review copy that I am very thankful for, that means I couldn't Google anything that I was stuck on. So that means I had to figure out everything on my own. And there's two things that I just couldn't get. The first one is this gold tower. There's supposedly like 5 gold keys hidden throughout the world, and after hours of searching, I found 0. None. Hey, it's me again. While editing this, I went back to go record some footage for it, and I ended up finding one of the golden keys. Funny how that happens. Turns out you gotta find these little gold pieces that don't let you pick them up right away, and then you need to follow it to a chest that has a golden key in it. And then you go back to the gold tower, open up the cage, fight some dudes, and it gives you a piece of gold armor. So there you go. Now there's only one thing I can't figure out. The second one are these blue rocks. You're supposed to either hit them fast enough or in a certain order to unlock something. And there's this group of them at the top of the world that I can't seem to figure out what the hint for them is, but that's not even the problem. Like if I keep guessing, I think I'd probably get it eventually. Hi, me again. I did end up getting it. It's literally just the same pattern as the rocks on the other side of the island, but now on this side. But again, there is still one more thing. What I am talking about are these giant pillar rocks. There are 5 of them hidden throughout the entire world, and I've figured out enough that you have to hit them all in a specific order too. But I have no idea what that order is supposed to be, and they're too far spread out to be worth guessing over and over again. I've done north to south, south to north, west to east, and east to west, and it's none of those, so I just gave up after that. And I'm sure within a couple days of the game being out, it's gonna be all over the internet anyway, so I'm not really stressed about it. But I put a good chunk of hours into this, and I had a lot of fun. I highly recommend Cat Quest III since it gives such a good structure and world building to this franchise that keeps elevating with each release. It's amazing to see how far these fun little cat games have come, going from a very simple, straightforward RPG to an entire pirating experience better than anything we've seen since Assassin's Creed 4. If Cat Quest 1 was good, then Cat Quest 2 was really good, and Cat Quest 3 is incredible. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a sucker for cat games. Well, I am a sucker for cat games, but that's not why I'm saying it. This game truly is... well, I can't think of a cat pun, but it's good. So if you enjoyed this quick little deep dive into the Cat Quest trilogy, a like is always appreciated, and you can subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. Matter of fact, there's a video popping up on the side of the screen here where I did the same thing with 27 Lego games rather than 3 cat games. And if you want to support the channel another way, you can send us an actual cat. I prefer a calico cat. My girlfriend wants a rag doll. So if you want to send either, there's going to be an address right here that you can send it to. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Goodbye. Thank you for goodbye.